Hi everyone, my name is Megan Sohn and I am going to be presenting today on understanding and coping with racial trauma in the Asian American community. So in recent years, there has been a really prolific increase in incidents of anti-Asian hate crimes. If you're interested in learning more about the statistics, you can visit stopaapihate.org. They are an organization that have spent the last several years collecting all of the data and incidents surrounding incidents of anti-Asian hate. And unfortunately, the data is not good. There's just been this really prolific increase of discrimination and hate crimes against Asian Americans. And the really sad thing too is there's also data indicating that it's likely that there's a huge amount of underreporting of these incidents of discrimination due to a multitude of factors like maybe language barriers or distrust of some of the organizations that these things are being reported to. And so, yeah, it's been a really challenging, tricky time. I think the impact of this anti-Asian hate is really intense. So a lot of people have indicated things like experiencing burnout or not feeling safe or feeling afraid to go outside. I think racial trauma can have a lot of physical and psychological harm that really builds up over time. It's really, for a lot of Asian Americans, it's experiencing racism is a near, is a really frequent experience. There's been a lifetime of incidents of racial bias and ethnic discrimination, and all of that builds up to where racial trauma can be a near constant experience. So I want to give a couple of tools for how to cope with racial trauma. And I think the biggest thing I want to emphasize is that this will look different for everyone. I don't want to say you need to do a certain set of things. For some people, for instance, it's really helpful to pause and unplug from media, from all the news surrounding these incidents of anti-Asian hate. For other people, the opposite is helpful. It feels empowering to get involved in activism. So it really can depend per person, but some other suggestions that I wanted to offer are self-care for your mind and body. Taking care of your body is really important because of those physical effects of racial trauma. A couple of other things I want to emphasize are getting connected with community that feels empowering and supportive. Another thing is reconnecting with your racial or cultural identity. Being really gentle with how you might respond to racist incidents and not being hard on yourself for how you respond, whether that you responded with assertion or whether you responded with just kind of like taking it in or fleeing. Being really kind to yourself for how you might have responded, because often those responses are a sort of trauma response that we don't have full control over. So another thing is validating your experiences of race and racism. And then finally is knowing when to seek professional help. So I think I really recommend, if you are to go to therapy, it can be really empowering and helpful to see a therapist who also identifies as Asian American. I find a lot of my clients who identify as Asian American, they'll often tell me that it's so helpful to have a therapist with this shared identity, just so they don't have to explain things and there's this shared cultural understanding. And that is it for today. I hope you learned from this, and yeah, take care of yourselves.